Kristen Ledlow alongside our NBA champion, Brendan Haywood. 3D Dennis Scott is covering the series from the sidelines or sometimes from the arena seats and joins us now. DZ, let's just start with immediate adjustments the Warriors have to make in Game 2.
Well, I think the biggest thing, guys, that the Warriors have an opponent who comes in here with a lot of confidence. That's the first thing they have to deal with. The Celtics are not scared of the Warriors. And I think a lot of people thought when this series started that they would be. So Ime Udoka's done an excellent job of bringing this team in here, playing with a lot of confidence and playing big-time basketball. So now to answer your question, how do you attack the Celtics defense? The way they play defense in that fourth quarter, we have to agree, is second to none we've seen in the finals for a team that's never been there before. So if they continue to play defense like that, the Warriors have to find out a way to get better ball movement and player movement in the fourth quarter like they showed us in the first half, B-Wood.
Yeah, I definitely think they need to find a way to get better ball movement and player movement. And one of the things that I look for, and I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do, is in the fourth quarter, what are they going to do when Boston just says we're not guarding Draymond Green? When they say we're not going to guard him at the top of the key, we're not going to guard him in the short corner. And if you go all the way back to the last time the Warriors were in the finals, that is the exact same game plan that the Toronto Raptors used to slow down the Warriors when KD wasn't playing. They wouldn't guard Draymond. They wouldn't guard Iguodala. Sometimes they would even play a triangle in two or a box in one. And Steve Kerr's going to have to figure out, how do we hide Draymond Green from an offensive standpoint? We know what he does defensively. I never judge him by his defense, but at the same time, offensively, when the game gets tight against a high-level defensive team, they're going to make the ball find him. And Steve Kerr has to figure out a way to get Draymond off the top of the key, maybe get him involved in some more screening rolls, getting downhill where he's more of a threat. But anytime he's hanging out on the perimeter, he is not being guarded.
Let's talk about it then. Steph Curry had a stunning first quarter, 21 points on 7 of 9 from the field. DZ, I'll start with you. How can this team get others going early on?
Well, we talk about the others. Well, Kevon Looney was on the baseline in the Denver Mavericks series, getting a lot of easy buckets. To B. Wood's point, if you're having Draymond at the top of the key, Celtics will make him make shots. 2 of 12, Kevon Looney 1 of 4. So how do you get those guys going in the starting lineup as well? Jordan Poole, I know he's going to make shots. He's going to be more aggressive. But once again, I just marvel over the Celtic defense right now, the way they scramble, the way they communicate, the way they have that helper-to-helper moniker on point. So get others moving, rebound the basketball better, but make sure you're more efficient with your cuts because you know you're playing against a focused defense.
Yeah, I'm also looking at Jordan Poole. He's that guy that has really stepped up well for this team. He's played incredible basketball. But man, oh man, he was missing in game 1 on the offensive end, and defensively he's been challenged throughout the series. And so you understand that, hey, we're going to give up some defense because that's not his calling card. But if we're going to give up some defense and offensively, you got to give us something. Jordan Poole's going to have a couple of big games. He doesn't have to be the man every single night, but I'm looking for Jordan Poole to have a couple games where he's 21, 22, 23 points, and then that's going to be able to take some pressure off of Steph Curry. Also, Klay Thompson's going to have to hit buckets as well, but I'm really have my eye on Jordan Poole.
Would you have thought, Brendan, if I read you Jason Tatum's stat line following game 1 that the Celtics would have won?
No, if you told me Jason Tatum was going to shoot 3 of 17, I was like, man, the Golden State Warriors are going to win this game by about 20 points. But credit Jason Tatum. This is something that he wasn't doing early on in his career. When he wasn't scoring, he was snoring, but that is not where he is right now. When he's not scoring the basketball, he does a great job of getting his teammates involved. We saw Marcus Smart call out Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown early in the season for not doing that, and now we're seeing the fruits of their labor. They have learned that when we get the ball, we don't always have to shoot it, and when teams give us extra attention, let's find our teammates. Jason Tatum did a great job with 13 assists. Even though he didn't shoot the ball well, those 13 assists were very key to this Boston team being able to beat the Golden State Warriors at home and shock a lot of people.
Yeah, B. Wood, you hit it right on the head. I was so impressed with Jason Tatum because, once again, being a superstar doesn't mean when you're staying aggressive, you have to continue to shoot the ball. Like you mentioned, 3 of 17. Most young guys in our game today will continue to take bad shots, but he stayed aggressive and found his teammates. How many times did he find Derek White there in the second half with wide open 3-point shots in the corner at the top of the key? To your point, 13 huge assists down the stretch, rotating on defense. So it really let me know that Jason Tatum was really locked in on all aspects of the game, not just scoring the basketball, then being able to finish the game. So I was very impressed with JT's game.
Thanks again for joining us, 3D. We're going to check in with you throughout the show.
All right, guys.
More from San Francisco. Media availability at the NBA Finals after the break as the Celtics lead the Warriors after a Game 1 win. Again, if I had read you Jason Tatum's stat line following Game 1, the assumption would have been a Warriors Game 1 win, and yet those 12 points were accompanied by a career-high 13 assists for him. First and foremost, what worked so well for him creating on the offensive end?
Well, Jason Tatum understood, look how they're playing him. They're putting bodies in his way, so every time he drives the ball to the basket, his job is to make a play. That play isn't always to shoot. He did a great job of being patient, finding his teammate, as you saw him find Robert Williams right there. I remember there's a big play late in the fourth quarter where he found Peyton Pritchard for a wide open corner three, and Peyton Pritchard was wide open because Tatum drew 3 guys to him. That is the right basketball play. Everybody thinks the right basketball play is Mamba mentality, fading out of bounds with 3 guys on you, but sometimes the right basketball play is drawing a crowd, finding your teammate, trusting that teammate to knock down a shot, and empowering your role players. And that is what the playoffs are all about. We understand the superstars are the superstars and the pressure is on them, but role players have a chance to be heroes in the playoffs when they step up in key moments. And that's what we got in the fourth quarter from guys like Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, and especially Al Horford.
Then operating under the assumption that Tatum will shoot better, and that he could give you 30, he could give you 40, 1 or 2, or perhaps the rest of these games. How, if you're these Warriors, do you limit him offensively?
Well, if you're the Warriors, you have to try to figure out what's the happy medium. How do you limit Tatum, but then still take away the rest of the guys on the team? Because in the fourth quarter, they gave away some great shots. Al Horford was on fire, but it was because his shots a lot of times were uncontested or the contest was so late. Those were shots that he works on practice all the time. Threes from the top of the key, threes from the corner. As a team, the Boston Celtics shot 51% from the three-point line. So anytime you shoot 50 from the floor and 51 from 3, you give yourself a great chance to win. So if I'm the Golden State Warriors, it's not just about limiting Jason Tatum. I got to figure out how can we slow this guy down but not give away quality looks to the role players. I mean, look at that. Robert Williams, he's not going to miss many dunks. Yeah. And then Jason Tatum right here. Look at that shot right there. Al Horford wide open, lining it up.
Are we loving Al Horford flexing and blowing kisses?
I'm loving spicy / petty Al Horford. In these playoffs, there's been some moments whether it was Giannis dunking and staring at him and Al Horford dunking on him back, or whether it was Draymond Green flexing after the end one early in the game and Al Horford getting the last laugh flexing at the end. I love where Al Horford is right now. He's fiery, he's spicy, he's showing some of his personality. He's blowing kisses at the end of the game. I'm here for it, and we're going to see how they respond, how Golden State responds, how well Al Horford played.
He's making his finals debut, but as we watch the Warriors practice, those guys aren't. How significant could that experience be as this series continues to unfold?
Well, I think the experience is great for the Warriors because those guys won't panic. They've been in these situations before. They've been down in series before. They've had a chance to win. They've had a chance to understand what championship mentality looks like. And I said it before, the Warriors are have a 22-8 record following playoff losses since 2015. So when these guys get beat, they know how to bounce back. And it starts with that guy right there, Steph Curry. He's going to need some help from Jordan Poole. He's also going to need some help from Klay Thompson. And from a defensive standpoint, as I went back and watched some of these clips, they're going to need Dre to be even better defensively. I love what Draymond brings defensively as far as being the captain from a defensive standpoint, but some of his closeouts on Al Horford were absolutely baffling. For it to be the NBA Finals, it wasn't the high level that I was used to seeing. So Dre's going to have to bring it on both ends. He's got to figure out, can he knock down open shots when given to him? And on the defensive end, he's got to pick it up and show us why he was once the Defensive Player of the Year in this league.
Will this series affect your perception of the Warriors dynasty at all? When you consider Kevin Durant in the Bay and no longer, and their records without him having been there, will you look to this series to say whether or not this dynasty was all you thought it was?
This dynasty can only go up. Nothing can take it down, in my opinion.
Yeah.
When you look at the fact, 6 finals in 8 years, winning 3 of those, Like, at the end of the day, Steph Curry said it a long time ago, and I think he said it about himself, and I think it applies to this team.
It's I know what you're going to say, and it's my favorite thing that anyone has ever said.
Listen, he doesn't have anything else to prove, just more to achieve.
A lot more to accomplish, but nothing left to prove.
And that's where the Golden State Warriors are. They don't have anything else left to accomplish. Everything they do now is gravy. It's all icing on the cake. And whether that's them getting this 4th championship or not, I think this run is solidified as one of the best that we've had in NBA history.
The Warriors are now 21-3 in game ones since 2015. Coach Steve Kerr is sitting down to address the media now.
Or anything like that. Just how you always say it's just one game, but how important is it for the guys to buy in and have their normal approach going into tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, it's the value of experience, playoff experience, is you really do understand the ups and downs of a playoff series, and it's really important to turn the page, one way or the other. If you win and you get happy and you let your guard down, then you're in trouble. And if you lose and you feel sorry for yourself, then you're in trouble doing that too. So it's all about how you respond. And these guys are, the best athletes, best competitors on earth, and a huge part of competition at the highest stage is your emotional and mental approach, and that has to be consistent.
Is Gary's elbow to the point that I know he was active the other night, but that you're comfortable putting him in the game?
Yeah, the other night I would have put him in special circumstances, maybe a late game stop. I didn't feel comfortable playing him significant minutes yet. I thought, and the training staff felt like he needed a little more time. I anticipate that he will be available for more than that tomorrow, because the last couple of days have gone pretty well, and he's feeling better.
Rohan in the middle.
Steve, the Celtics played only one big for most of that fourth quarter in game one. Do you feel like that's something you guys need to adjust to, or when you kind of look back at the film of that fourth quarter, you feel like it was more of an execution issue?
Well, I think the game is always tied together, offensively and defensively, but it even ties together from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. And I thought we got away from ourselves in the first quarter in terms of, game plan. We let a few guys walk into some shots and get comfortable. We let Jaylen Brown get a fast break dunk with nobody touching him in kind of a 5-on-4 situation. I think everything that happened in the first 3 quarters kind of helped the process in the fourth for them to get going the way they did. But obviously they played extremely well, and the lineup that they put out there has had a lot of success throughout the playoffs too. So kind of a combination of all that.
Steve, what's your reaction having watched the video with the team and going over things? And also, when you look at the way the fourth quarter unfolded, what do you think of the amount of defensive, force that you guys played with?
Yeah, I mean, it was the film showed the good and the bad. We had some good stretches, and then obviously the fourth quarter was, as I said, it was like an avalanche. And I give Boston the credit that they deserve. They played a brilliant fourth quarter. But again, we let our guard down earlier in the game, and that allows guys to be more comfortable when they are taking shots. And when you get a couple early ones that you get a really good look at, it just makes every shot easier after that. So I think it was our coverage breakdowns, personnel breakdowns earlier in the game that sort of fed into that.
Steve, a little bit off topic. I would presume that being a role player in this league would enable you to help coach role players because it's a shared experience and stuff like that. But how did being a role player in the NBA as a player help you coach stars? Was there anything kind of knowing how to play off of a star that has helped inform the way you coach them?
I think it's more my observation of watching Phil and Pop and how they collaborated with Michael, Scotty, Tim, David, Manu. I mean, witnessing the relationship between the coach and the star has informed me much more than sort of being a role player and what the dynamic is as that role player. So, I can't relate to anything Steph Curry has